Hey guys, welcome to the Centerbounds. You've asked, we've promised, and today we're going to deliver. You've sent your teams, and this is the day we review them. Big J, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yes, good, very good. The people have spoken, they want their teams reviewed, and we will do it for them this week.
Mate, I've never seen so many people press reply on Facebook, on Discord, on Twitter. Someone sent me a mail, letter in the mail with the picture of their team. I'm just like, mate, we've got to do this. So this week is Supercoach Team Review Week. Basically, we'll try and do every day until we've finished everybody's team, have a look at, give our opinions on their side.
Oh man, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate you really putting yourself out there. It's not easy to have some sort of publicity and having your name out there, your team. This is what you're thinking, but we really appreciate it, and we're going to do our best to get through every single one of them and really give you some sort of some advice on where you can find some improvement to really give yourselves the best possible start. Because the 50K, it's got to be for one of us. Okay.
Definitely. And guys, before we get started, if you like our overlays, let us know in the comments as well. We're trying out something new and hope you guys like it.
Yeah, you put a lot of effort into this, and I must say, when I've come onto this, it looked bloody sensational. If you excuse my French, was very amazed, very impressed. I went, "Ooh, all right." Hopefully, I have some of that reaction to some of your teams. I haven't had a look at them, but we'll have a look here. All right, so let's switch over, and here we have it. We begin with a team that looks very interesting, to say the least. It belongs to the Supercoach Godfather, Abs, the Magic Legend with 1,000 subscribers. Well done, my man. Absolutely sensational. You've killed it, but not with this team, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Richmond's going to do okay, but their bye round's really going to hurt you.
That round 15 bye, a bit of problems there. And also another problem is that you're missing this really important, one of the biggest locks in the midfield. You've got every Richmond player, but you haven't got Hopper. Mate, Mayday. You got to go swim the middle of the Pacific Ocean and pick those keys up because you've thrown them away somewhere. You got to fix this. Thank you so much, Godfather. Love your work. And congratulations as well on that Herald Sun article. Sensational.
Yeah, 100%. You deserve everything that you got. So keep up the great work, buddy.
For sure. And so we come with the first team. This is Bale's team. Coke with Nadia. So with Nadia, of course, but I changed the name up there. Bale's team, he's got 10K in the bank. It's a very nice projected 1,800. Ooh, I like. I know projected doesn't mean anything, but when I see over 1,800 as a projected, I get a bit excited there. Let's have a look here. So we got Stewart, Acos. So that's two. He's gone 2 in the back line. Oliver Miller.
Yeah, maybe we'll count up maybe how many premiums they've got, and then kind of work out where the fillers are for the rest of there. So you've got 2 premiums in the back line, 4 in the midfield, and then obviously 2 rucks, and then 4 in the forward line. So what's that? 6, 10, 12. 12 premiums. It's pretty good standard team there. Some real mid prices in Yo, who you're hoping is going to either be a keeper or making a lot of money for you. Similar with Hopper as well. And then kind of your lesser priced guys in some of the rookies, people who are just under 100 under 200 over 200.
Yeah, I can see it's a different looking team because it's got Cam McKenzie at M7. In addition to, a lot of people have Oscar Allen in their teams, but there's been more reports today that he's had some hamstring tightness. So I think a lot of teams moving forward won't be having Oscar Allen in their team. So I think Bales also is one of those people. I'd probably be off of him. And also his bench is full of, I think, relevant good players as well that are genuine rookie options. Weddle, Wilmot, Johnson, Constable. I think Baker is an interesting one that he's omitted in his midfield for West Coast. And that's for the Boston Bulldogs. I mean, he's got Long instead at 117k. He can afford him.
Yeah, I guess kind of the thing what we'll look at on the bench is, are they, expensive more than your 123k guys, or if they're going to be like some people who have stacked their bench with 102k players, to try and maximize the cash gen there. Obviously, that's not going to work out for them. So his team right now is looking pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got the cash gen there, and he's got 12 primos on the field. Where do you reckon? I'd say Grundy at R1 is obviously an interesting call. Definitely someone to question mark over there. Obviously sharing with Gawn. So one to really keep an eye on during the preseason matches coming up.
For me, there's two kind of glaring. Well, let's say there's three glaring issues, but two really. Grundy's a bit sketch as that R1 position. A lot of people picking English for a reason. A lot of people picking wits, that kind of thing. A little bit concerned about his kind of makeup with Gawn at the moment. Just kind of seeing what happens with that. And also with Cam Mackenzie on field, and secondly, the amount of kind of cheaper rookie players that you have on field. If Gibney, if Goda, if Mackenzie kind of have a bad week, then you're in real trouble. I know a lot of teams have been picking 2 or 3 of these players, but most sides that I've seen at the moment are only running 2 rookies in the midfield, whereas you're running 3. So having kind of that extra rookie on field, it may hurt you sometimes. So see if you can fiddle around with the cash a bit and get one of these players off, upgrade to a mid-price or that kind of thing.
Yeah, especially the Mackenzie pick. A lot of people having like a Sheed, for example, in that spot, or a Finn Callahan, for example, or people in the Allen spot could be a Flanders or a Winhager, or could be even up to like a Zeeble or a Long, for example. Things that, different players that are more reliable with their scoring. So definitely mess around a bit with the cash, because I think this is the year where having more mid prices as opposed to rookies is the way to go. But otherwise, it's well on the way to being a good team. Thank you, Bales. We'll move over to Ben. This is Ben's team. He's split his team, on the phone, so he's put it over 2 screenshots.
Yep.
Oh, right off the bat, you can have a look. That's a very light backline. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely one of the trends at the moment. Either people are stacking the midfield and going super cheap in the backline, or kind of just getting 1 or 2 premiums in there. Looking at his side at the moment, let's count up how many premiums he's got, Joe. So maybe none in the back line at the moment. 5 in the midfield, 5 midfield. Scroll across to the next one. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So he's only running 11 premiums. And that back line is probably the real area of concern for me. Yo is great. Hunter Clark is very, very sketch at the moment. So you've actually got to be really careful. And then you're not even, loading up on you guys like Gibney, those kind of people who, Gibney, Goda, McKenna, who you'd think are actually going to be playing. You've got Weddle as your as your D4. So it's very light, and I think you're really going to struggle with that back line.
For sure.
One of these kids get rested, a couple of these guys get rested, and then, you're going to be getting 40s on field when everyone else is getting 80s. It really adds up over a couple of players over a couple of weeks.
For sure. And I think you probably have gone one too many in the midfield, because you got a guy like Phillips now sitting on the bench, and Phillips is definitely one of those worthwhile fieldable options who's going to be a mainstay in the North Melbourne engine room with tackles and contested possessions. There are, and then on the flip side, you got guys like Cowan, for example, on the field, who really there's no guarantee this guy is going to even play around 1. So definitely, I think, and we don't know how much money you've got left in the bank either, because you haven't showed us that. So, because you've paid up for Wits and Marshall, that's fine, and you haven't overpaid in your forward line either. So I think you must have a bit of cash in the bank, because you haven't gone crazy in the forward line either. I think you've gone with a standard 4 there, Zeeble and McLean. So I don't know.
I'd probably be going maybe a Sheed downgrade to a rookie on the bench, putting Phillips on field, and then putting
Mhm.
that extra money in a couple of either expensive rookie defenders who are going to play every week, or trying
Yep.
to upgrade Clark to a premium, or do a mix of that. I think that's probably where the glaring hole is at the moment with this team. What do you reckon, Joe?
I agree wholeheartedly. Definitely best to push at least one of
Holder's
these
great.
people onto the bench.
Neil's an interesting pick as well. He's probably one of the only teams that I've actually seen that's got Neil.
Neil.
To start with. So, yeah, interesting
Agree.
side there.
Very much so. So thank you very much for your team, Ben. We now move on to the Blue Balls of Destiny. This is his first side, and you can automatically see that he's paid up in the back line. He's gone 3 primo back line, 4, 5, 6, 7 Taranto in the mid. 7,
Must have a stacked forward line, maybe.
8, 9, 10, 11.
11,
Again,
yeah.
11, because he's then fielded 1, 2, 3 rookies and King. Okay.
Not many.
So it looks like he's really ran out of money come the forward line. But then he's got Archie Perkins on the bench. What's going on here?
Maybe he didn't press like optimize or something, and it puts all the expensive players on field.
Must have. And he's got McLean on the bench in the mids. Yeah, something is not right here. Yeah, I don't know.
Your thoughts first, and then I'll give mine.
Sure. Taranto in the mids is very interesting, as opposed to having him in the forward line. He's gone Gawn and Cameron. Okay, Gawn is. If people say you're overpaying for Wits, I don't know what they say if you're paying for Gawn. This is again one of those rare teams that you got Gawn in the side. So I personally think there's a lot more value out there. I think you clearly have an issue with cash and spending your money. So this forward line is without a doubt going to be one of the weakest ones out there, because you can imagine people are running 4 premiums in the forward line, and you're coming in with 2, and Archie Perkins. So it's Finn McRae might not even play round 1 either. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of question marks over players that you've got in your team, and 5 in the mid. I think you've personally gone too heavy in the back line. Paying up for Stewart and Sicily has also eaten a lot into your cash as well. So I definitely, and it's another Neil team as well. So I think you're spending too much into too few players, and that's causing you to really have to field a lot of rookies on the field. How many rookies you got? 1, 2, 3. Ashcroft 4. He's got 4 rookies. Jimby's 5. So you're fielding 5 rookies on the field, which is fine in terms of the number of rookies, but you've also left yourself very reliant on King on the field, and you've paid too much for Perkins personally. So there's a bit to work with here. I think you got to commit a bit more in relation to having as few rookies on field as possible. But then again, he can put McLean on the field as well. So at least there's that.
Yeah. For me, probably just a downgrade of Gawn to either a Wits or a Marshall, that kind of thing. Free up a lot of cash there. As Joe said, your rookies on field are probably the biggest option. So biggest problem, especially in that forward line. So maybe even look to move Taranto forward, take up a forward line spot, get rid of a McRae or someone on field, and then be able to actually go in and move one of these players into the midfield there to get, to free up and that kind of thing. Your forward line rookies generally won't make as much money as your back line or your midfield, just for the nature of the fact that most of them are actually key forwards. So key forwards are very reliant on goals, and some days they'll do okay, and then some days they'll score a 20. So you want a midfielder that's around the ball all the time there. Take a little bit of a note of the premiums you've got in that midfield, Joe, if you just scroll across to the midfield page. Guys like Neil are probably going to drop in cash a little bit to start. So have a look at his fixture and just kind of take note of that. I don't mind the Sicily and Stewart pick. I think that's fine. but you're picking up these players at their most expensive price at the start of the year. Yes, it's great to have them, but it's their most expensive. So you probably want to upgrade into those instead of starting them.
I'd personally, if you're going to have a line that's going to have a lot of rookies in there, it wouldn't be the forward line, that's for sure. Not when you've got quite a few premiums already locked in that you probably should have locked in. If there was a line to have more rookies in, where the value is, it would definitely be the back line for me personally. And so it's more so a redistribution of your cash. And you've got 24K left in the bank, so it's definitely doable. Thank you, Mr. Blue Balls. Off to B Port 38 with a very long screenshot. This is very impressive. Don't know how much you got left in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, he's got a Horn Francis. This one has 2 primos in my book. Well done. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bona fide primos. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mid prices.
So I really like the structure of this team. I can kind of see what you're trying to do with upgrades, that kind of thing. So getting a few premiums in, taking a bit of a chance on guys like Ridley, maybe not Hayden Young as much, but definitely like Ridley. And then across the board, actually looking to upgrade. So, Will Day makes money quick, upgrade him. Horn Francis maybe makes money quick, upgrade him. Similar with Miller and Nick Martin as well, if not keepers. It's a good structure to have, but you've really got to bank on actually getting the right players in. So not having Hopper, I think he's almost like number one lock. You must have him, and you don't have him in your team at the moment. So maybe take a little bit of research in actually working out which one of these players to pick as the upgrade targets. I don't mind the Darcy and Nick Nat combo. Darcy looks to be sharing a lot of time with Luke Jackson, so he's going to have some real seesaw scoring. Nick Nat, he's all right. He's Nick Nat. So just kind of my options there. Bench looks fine. Just guys that you can swap in and out depending on who's named around one. A lot of money there to do that. So just kind of have a look at these players over the preseason games to who you want to bring in. Will Day's supposed to be playing a bit of mid, so we'll have a look what his scoring's like. Horn Francis as well. And then Nick Martin and Miller are there. Oscar Allen, as Joe's mentioned before, is kind of coming up with a little bit of injuries at the moment. So depending on cash, maybe you upgrade to a Flanders or somebody if they're fit and firing. Yours, Joe?
Agreed. Yeah. I think the fixes can be relatively straightforward. I mean, you got Horn Francis there. Horn Francis can easily be flipped to a Hopper, who I think is definitely a lock. I also find it interesting that you're not going with Marshall, who could also free you up quite a bit of cash. I think Marshall is a feature in almost every person's ruck line. So not having the cheaper option in Marshall, who a lot of people are predicting to be R1 if he can stay healthy. And, you've gone with a guy like Nick Nat, who also has historical injury concerns and low time on ground sort of thing. So you could free up some cash if you were to get a Marshall. And then freeing up that cash can also lead you to bump up a Nick Martin to someone like a Taranto, who's at 505K roughly. Not that far off Nick Martin, who's going to be playing a wing role for Essendon. Yeah. And you compare the wing, a player playing on the wing, to a primo who's going to be on the ball, winning, center bounce clearances. I know which one I would prefer, especially for less than 100K difference. I would, you could easily get it if you were to move off Stewart, for example, down to a day cost as well. That's also possible. But if you back it in Stewie, then this has been a great team so far. There's really not much to change here. With a bit of research in the preseason games, you're well on your way. Well done, B Ports 38. All right, we get to Corey Blackledge with his Cam Suvalaki team, and he's a North Melbourne fan, this guy, and
he's a
mad North supporter causer.
Bring it out a bit bigger, Joe, so people can see.
A bit bigger?
Yeah, there you go. Cool. You want to go first?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bona fide primos, and we're counting on Lysette to be the R1 at Port Adelaide for the whole year and not get injured. Otherwise, so 11 and a half, you reckon you could call it?
Yeah, no, definitely, kind of around that mark.
Okay, and
I think there's a
Yo,
lot of
who's
teams
a big one.
a lot of teams at a similar spot.
Yeah, Yo, very important. Bose, obviously a bit of research required for him. Jimby, McKenna, Weddle, Wilmot, these are all great rookie price players who are all likely to play. That's very good. He's gone Laird, Bond, Parrish as a pod. Green, Hopper Sheed. I think this is one of the best midfields going around. He's got the top dog, the massive upside in these players. He's probably gone a Parrish instead of a Titch, and personally, I think that's perfectly acceptable. The bench looks good. Forward line, he's got the 4 legends as well as McLean. Bruce is probably the one question mark here, whether or not he's best 22 playing as an intercept defender. But I'd much rather have an intercept defender in my forward line than a key full forward. That's for sure. So overall, this team is in fact really good looking, and I love the Sard pick as well. I think there are the stats about Sard without Williams in the team. He goes 110, so definitely upside for that as well. There's really not too much to change here, I don't think.
Yeah, bit of a research for me. Just wait and see what happens. I would have loved if this team had a Tom Mitchell instead of Dom Sheed, but obviously you can't facilitate the price there. Bose in the back line's a bit sketch, as I kind of said in my plays to watch video. Sometimes no news is a bad thing, especially with these guys who've been brought in from another club. You don't even know if he's best 22 at the moment. So just kind of watch the preseason games for that. Midfield's fine. 2 rookies on field is fantastic. Obviously, Sheed kind of a watch and see. I think he didn't play the recent intra-club game, so he's one to really watch out for in the preseason games that they've got going on. Similar with the live set, there's a bit of a sketch thing happening with Port's ruck line at the moment, so just wait and see what's happening with that. You may have to trade him out for another player. You've got enough cash at the moment, I think, to go to Darcy Cameron, which is fine. If he's best 22, like number 1 ruckman, there's some talk that he might be the forward and then Cox is the ruckman, so we'll just have to see. But if not, you'll have to kind of change around your team to fit one of the 500k guys in there, or more expensive. Forward line looks fine. Bruce is, just to wait and see what happens, but you've got enough money to go to like a Philippou instead, or a Ben King would be another option who could make you some really quick cash.
So there's nothing really glaring. It's more so just a wait and see, keep a close eye on the preseason games, just to make sure that you're selecting the right players. And if there's anyone with question marks appear, then that aren't answered, that aren't ticked off, like your Bruces, for example, and your Lysets, then those are the guys you would move off on. But for now, obviously, pending those games, it's structured quite well, I think.
Yep. Who's up next, Joe?
Up next, we've got Damien. Damien's team. He's got 1, 2, 3. He's paid up a lot in that back line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is our first 13 primo team here. And you can see at the expense of having a Van Rooyen on field there, having Baker, Cetus.
Maybe I'll go first. I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
The back line looks great. So the 3 most expensive guys, you're losing out, as we've said earlier, on picking up these guys at a value price compared to a lot of the 500k people. Yes, they probably will be the top of their line again, which is great to start them. But in a team like this, where you're trying to maximize the amount of premiums you've got, paying 600k for a guy that's going to score 110 is probably worse than paying 532k for someone like Green, who may score the same as well, and will get another midfield rookie off the bench, off the field onto the bench. So backline structure's fine, just kind of that thing to look at. I'd be looking at a Jinby as well, maybe to try and fit in there somewhere if you can. Midfield, is probably the glaring issue at the moment. 4 rookies on field or 4 non-premiums or non-mid prices on field is a lot. And like if guys like Sardis or Baker or even Philippou have a really dodgy game, you're going to be behind the 8 ball even quicker than normal compared to a lot of teams who, as we've seen at the start, they're running 2 rookies on field and you've got 4. So something really to watch out for there. Maybe free up some cash from the back line and upgrade those players. Oliver McRae's fine. There's personal preference. We've spoken about maybe not starting Oliver due to injury history and losing some money, but, it's what it is. Forward line, Joe? Yeah, so Darcy Marshall's okay. I've given my views on Darcy at the moment. I think he's more a wait and see to what impact Jackson's got in the team. But him at his price means you can almost sideways to anybody. So he's not a must, change right now. Similar to a Darcy Cameron. If the pick works out fine, you're laughing because you're getting a number 1 ruck. There is talk at the moment about him swapping with Cox, that kind of thing. And when he does, his scoring drops by like 25 points. You're not getting that 100 score anymore. You're getting like an 80. So he's not even, F8 at that point. Allen's okay, but watch out for injury history, that kind of thing, as we've said before. And then Van Ruin or a rookie at the F6 spot. It's okay. I've seen a lot of teams that are plugging that spot with an Allen. So you're potentially looking out or losing out on another rookie spot there. You really kind of want to maximize the cash gen you can bring in, as well as your scoring as well. So key forwards in your forward line, that kind of thing, are a bit annoying. And then even worse so when you're filling up that position with rookies. Off to you, Joe.
Yeah, I agree. And if you want to know more about forwards, you watch our forwards video on our channel. We don't like forwards in our forward line. We like non-forwards in the forward line as much as possible. And another player that you can that a lot of people, myself included, are filling in with this F6 spot is McLean from the Bulldogs, who I think is a glaring, I suppose, also omission from this team. There's no McLean. And another glaring omission from your midfield is Phillips as well, who I think is
he's basically a must-have. You have to have him.
He's a must-have.
Supercoach.
Correct. He's a must-have, especially in this M8 spot here. A lot of people have gone with 3 or 4 premium mids and then 2 mid prices. In Hopper, who you've also missed out here, who's really important for your team. And someone's gone like a Sheed or a Callahan or a Flanders or a Winhager. It could be any of these players, but definitely more reliable than playing a Cetus at this spot here. And I really haven't heard anything about him. So you've got, I suppose, too many rookies on the field, and I think you've definitely overpaid in the back line. I understand you want top of the line stuff, but you can always get top of the line players later when they're cheaper. Definitely, this is the year to start as less rookies as possible. So thank you very much for those teams, Damien.
People are underestimating the impact I think the sub rule will end up having. So just have to kind of keep that in mind. A rookie's kind of not fit halfway through the game, they might get subbed out and then you get a 0 for the rest of that game. So you just don't want that to happen.
Nah, you don't. And so we come to Eugene Yui's team. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this name. And I guess I'll start off here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 primos, 11 bona fide primos. And you've gone, you've got a long at 3 and Yo. This is very good. Having, one of those few teams that actually has Yo at D4. That's very impressive. Bont, he hasn't paid up. This person hasn't paid up in the mids very much. Gone value. Bont, Steele, Green, Mitchell. These guys are underpriced. I think that's great. He's gone Hopper Sheen, which is great with Ashcroft Phillips. Marshall Lysett, you're obviously hoping he does well, but he's gone with the 4. Oh, this is a great forward line as well. Obviously, pending Zeeble's role. If it's as good as we hope it is, personally wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a big fan of the intra club, but obviously the Pracky games will give us more information. So, he's taken a gamble with Ridley, hoping that Ridley can recapture some of that form that saw him, averaging a lot. Could very easily be a Dacos here or a Young. But overall, I think this team is also very good. Nothing overly glaring that I can see. He's got all of the important rookies. Probably a Jinbi maybe might be one person that if you could somehow push like a Weddle onto the bench or a Wilmot onto the bench, might be really good. But other than that, I think he's hit most of the important rookies, right?
Yeah. You've definitely paid up in some areas. I look at this side kind of looking at, hey, how much value can you get in, especially with going someone like a Ben Long at D3. It's probably one of the few teams that have actually seen him. Yes, he had fantastic scoring at the end of last year for St Kilda, and it's something to look out for at his new club. One to watch over the preseason. He could kind of force himself into a lot of teams there. I kind of go down the list. We've spoken about Dom Sheed a little bit, being one definitely to watch. Otherwise, your midfielders are fine. You're just kind of looking to upgrade into Laird, Oliver, Brayshaw, all these kind of players versus starting them, which is fine. Everyone's kind of different that way. I'd be wary of Lycett. We've kind of spoken before about how Port's ruck line's a bit sketch at the moment, so have to wait and see there. You don't really want to have to change half your team to bring in a player. And then you've got we'll call it the Magic Four. You've got the Magic Four in that forward line, which is great. Zeeble, as Joe said, definitely a watch and see for me. I don't think the backline structure is going to be the same at North Melbourne as it was 2 years ago when he really went bang. I think we're going to be trying to move the ball a lot more instead of a chip kick and set up plays, that kind of thing, as we did under Noble as well as Reece Shaw a while ago. And I think the backline just in general has got better. So our half-back flankers have got better. We've got Griffin Logue and a couple of other players in there who will play, which will mean that Zeeble probably won't be the number one man in the backline. I think he took like 3 kickouts in the intra-club. So that's half the backline playing on either team, and he only took 3 kickouts. So something definitely to watch there. You've paid up for the right rookies, which is good. McKenna, Jinby in the backline, probably ones to look out for. And then, your bench is fine. So, yeah, that's me.
Nice. I like it. We get Harvey Sutherland. You want to start us off with this one?
Yeah. So Dawson Stewart's fine in the back line. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5 in the midfield. So that's 7 in total so far. 8, I guess you'd call Darcy Cameron 9. And then 10, 11, 12. So 12 premiums is fantastic. Maybe we'll just start on this screen first, as soon as we're on this screen. Ruck line's great. You can keep it there. We've given kind of our opinion on Darcy Cameron, one to watch to see what the makeup's like. The ruck line, especially this year, is very, very volatile, meaning that a lot of players are unknowns. So don't want to start one of these really unknown players. You want to go kind of as safe as always in that ruck line. Be it a Marshall Witts, Marshall English if he's fit. These kind of players. Seen a few off-field or off-course kind of picks as well, like your Nick Natton and Nan Curvis as well. So these kind of players who may be a little bit more pricey, but offer some real job security there. And Darcy Cameron's had his hamstring issues already, and it's not even pre-season pracky matches. So one to watch. I don't mind the Flanders pick. Definitely a wait and see. McLean the same. Green. So we've spoken a little bit about this F6 position. I think most people are running 4 premiums in the forward line or 3 and then a couple of mid prices. So ideally, you'd want to have McLean at F6 because we've seen last year as well with the midfield and also the forward line, these kind of rookies aren't scoring as well unless you've got someone who's really out of position, who's just selectable in the forward line. So something definitely to watch there. They're more likely to drop like a stinker score than something that's good. Midfield, Joe? Yeah. So backline's fantastic. You can go Stewart and Dawson. It's okay. You just kind of worry about, people being able to bring them in at a cheaper price. But I think those two are kind of the safer options. You're missing out on a day cost, though, which really hurts. Dacos and Young seem to be the guys who are going to be smashing the door down, and you don't want to have to try and bring them in at 50 to 100K more expensive than you could have started with, compared to people who are starting. Well, in your case, they might be able to pick Stewart up at 50K cheaper after he's dropped a couple of stinkers. So just wait and see with those. The midfield's fine. I don't mind the setup. 5 premiums is fantastic. I think that's kind of going to be the winning combination there. And Ashcroft and Phillips and Hopper. I think that's very close to what I'm running at the moment. Yeah, off to you, Joe.
I personally think it might be a bit too much to pay up for both Stewart and Dawson in the back line. Definitely, it's all about the value game, and players fluctuate in price throughout the course of the year. And with Dawson, you never know what sort of role he's going to have. He might be playing on a wing more. Bose, we've said before that you probably have to keep definitely a very close eye on him. Goda, again, someone you have to keep a really close eye on. He wasn't in the intra club for some reason that wasn't specified.
Managed fitness.
Oh, was it? Okay. So, missing out on, there are quite a few defender rookies that you're probably missing out on that, you can't really fit, but Jinbi is one that really comes to mind. You got Wilmot there. Chessa could be another one. I think maybe paying up for that extra midfielder, you're paying up for Tuke Miller, could be someone a bit cheaper, for example, because then you can move up a Fergus Green, who I don't think is going to be the best scorer. I don't really like full forwards. On the field, we like non-forward forwards, and a Fergus Green, who's a key forward for Hawthorn, given that they're most likely going to be a bottom 4 team, if not bottom 2 team, it's very nerve-wracking having to trust this sort of player who has very low supply to be able to give you a lot of points every week. So he is at best, I think, a bench option, and the rest of the team looks quite good, I think. So thank you very much for your team. We'll move on to, because I've got it full screen, I can't see the name anymore. Hunter McFarlane with their team. Thank you very much for that. I guess we'll try and zoom in a little bit there. Cicely Dawson Dacos, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 primo team is great, but I don't like having 2 key forwards on the field. Again, we like non-forward forwards. Definitely got to do something about that, I reckon. The midfield looks great, I think. He's paid up for the 2 big dogs in Laird and Clary, and Tuke, he's gone up with the 3 big dogs. Oh, he's gone ball to the wall here with this midfield with $100 left. He's got 10 million. He's got 10 mil to burn. He's looking to burn it all. He doesn't want to waste a cent. I love it. He's paid up big in the back line. Cicely Dawson and Dacos. Look, this team, I like it. It is very good. Having to field, a rookie on the field is not a problem. It could be a Wilmot, could be a Chester, could be a Constable. I think a lot of people are going to have, Blakely could be a Constable. But he's got the important rookie in Ashcroft. He's got Ashcroft, Jimby, Phillips, McKenna. He's got the big dudes. He's got the important ones. Obviously, paying up big time other places causes you to be super thin in the forward line. Where you make ground with these guys, you lose ground here. People are going to have, a Canelio where Allen is. I know which one is going to score a lot more. And then a lot of people have got a McLean where King is, and they might have a mid-pricer, whether it be Zeeble, Long, Cunnington, Flanders, Winhager. These guys are going to have a lot more reliable scoring than a King is, who's a key forward. So, look, other than that, I understand these are probably the 2 best options that you've got, given it could even be a Philippou to save yourself some cash. But again, by reports, Philippou is going to be playing more forward. It's gutsy. It's gutsy. You're paying up a lot in certain areas. You can free up some cash by going a bit down, like a Tuke, for example, or a Clary, who you're almost sure is going to drop in price with his bothersome thumb. But you back it in the big guys so that you don't trade them in later. So, look, I can understand where you're coming from. Personally, I just feel like there is enough wiggle room for you to to move on Allen and King, who are going to really hold you back, I think, in that forward line.
Yeah. For me, it's more a structure issue. So if we go in the back line first, we'll kind of do that page first. So Cicely Dawson's fine. Dacos and Yo's fine as your D3, D4, which is great, but it's having the Wilmot on field versus like a Jinmi, that kind of thing. You can swap between the two, but I think maybe you have one or two real rookies on field too many is probably the issue that I've got with this team. Yes, you're paying up for the big boys, which is great. You can do that. But in other areas, you have to make up for the fact that you have paid up those. One rookie on field, McKenna on the bench is okay. I'd probably look to downgrade a Sicily to maybe like a Hayden Young to free up 125K. To look to bring one of these rookies up to either a mid-pricer or to, someone else who's a bit stronger. Big four, I guess you'd call them, in the midfield is great. People will be upgrading to them. So you really hope in the first 5 to 10 rounds they don't drop a lot in cash because your advantage is going to fall off there. It's something really to look out for. If Bontempelli or a Tuke Miller has a couple of stinkers and a Tom Mitchell is, has a blind a couple of games to start, which he could do under a new coach and a new team, depending on fixture, that kind of thing, they're paying 130K less than what you are for a premium who's going to drop in price. So just something kind of to watch out for there. I'd probably be looking for having an Ashcroft Phillips as your two rookies on field instead of that extra player like you've got at the moment. I'll just swap over. Cool. Marshall Cameron, we've kind of given our opinions on Cameron at the moment. It really feels like, and we've seen that from the cash left over, you can't even pay for the team dinner, which it doesn't offer you a lot of flexibility, especially in terms of being able to swap rookies on your bench, which is a huge thing, because we might come out and have a lot of 123K rookies who are playing who are really good. And then it looks across all your lines. You've got a lot of 117. Yeah, you've got a couple of 123s, but maybe potentially not as much as what you should have. Darcy Cameron's a watch for me. Marshall's fine. And then in the forward line. So Joe kind of talked about having two key forwards in there, and we've spoken about other people who've got green, that kind of thing. I'd be looking to try and play, at least kind of four guys who are more expensive in that team. It almost feels like your team's a bit of a hybrid on the Guns and Rookies style. It is one to think about. So, 4 in the back line, 4 in the midfield, and then three premiums on field in the forward line, which is what we saw a little bit more in Guns and Rookies. This year, I think more people are going mid-pricer heavy across all the lines and really reducing the amount of bad scorers on field. I'd hate for you to potentially lose out by 100 to 150 points every week because one of these guys has a real stinker and other people are scoring, some better scores there for you. So just something to think about. I think starting the main 4 is a really good idea in the forward line. So Dunks, Rosie, Taranto, Cogs. You've obviously haven't done that. You've tried to breach out the cash a little bit there. So just something to think about.
Very well. We come to James. James has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 primo team. Another Marshall Cameron person. We've had our spiel on that. He's gone with 3 of them. So he's fed Cogs to put in a Fife. He's got a Sin on the field. Probably, I think it's a glaring issue there. Who is probably trying to build into... I mean, it could be any 123K rookie. I don't think they're a viable selection in the forward line. And that's probably because, again, he's paid up for 2 600K plus defenders and also paid up for both Laird and Clary. So I think, again, that's the sort of sacrifice that you're making by paying up so much. Again, another person with Wilmot at D6. Again, that's the issue you have by paying up so much for these big dogs early at the start. You're not going to reiterate too much. Again, these players will be attainable at some point in time during the course of the season. They will be. And everyone will recognize that if these guys are definitely top 8 mids, they'll do everything they can to trade them in. but it's very unlikely that when it's time to be traded in, that they're going to be at this price. They will definitely be traded in at a lower price. And so I understand you're trying to get ahead of the curve there, but you're sacrificing a spot at D6, I think, by having an extra rookie there. Yes, you've got the right rookies here in the midfield, but you're also sacrificing a spot here at F6 with Sin. So where you're making up in some places by paying up, again, there's a bit of you're giving up in other places too. So I think the structure of the team is probably a bit skewed. And as a result, I don't think you have enough cash to do anything here. $5,900. So any one of these two can go down to a Dacos or a Young. You free up a good 100K or 120K with Sicily, and then you can upgrade like a Sin, for example, or even a Fife with 120K. I mean, Cunnington's an option. If you're paying up for someone mature, like a Fife is, for example, well, I know for roughly 100K extra, I can have a Cunnington, for example, or you can upgrade a Sin up to 120, close to Flanders. You can maybe move like a Drury forward, for example, and get like a Finn Callahan for 240K. But again, this is a good mix, I think. But where you're lacking, I think, is your D6 and your F6. Even 5, I don't think, is the best use of money, to be honest. That's probably where the corrections would be. Over to you, Big J.
Yeah, I agree with Joe here on the team. Paying up for the big 3 or big 2 in your case, does have its benefits, but also its downside. So the rest of the team really has to. It's like a bit of a rubber band, right? You pull one way, the rest of it has to support it. In your case, this team doesn't really allow you to do that. So you're trying to fix up those things. If you're going to pay up for the 2 most expensive players, make sure that you've got a couple of other mid-prices in your team so you can combat and help get ahead of the guys who are going more mid-pricer heavy, who will be upgrading to your upgrading to your premiums a bit cheaper, but also may have a couple more premiums on field. As Joe said, a downgrade with a Fife would be fantastic. The same with the Sicily. Maybe run of them and grab a Dacos and a Young, because I truly believe that they've got some real value there, similar to a Yo, guys who are hugely underpriced this year, at least so far, what we've seen. Maybe downgrade a Fife to a Flanders, and then kind of spread out the cash across the other lines to bring in some more mid prices. We've talked about Darcy Cameron a little bit, just wait and see with the injuries, but that'd probably be what I want to do. Your midfield's fine. 100% your midfield's great. It's just kind of using the money in other positions to help to figure that out. If you're starting 5 premiums in the midfield plus Hopper, plus Ashcroft and Phillips, and you've got a couple more mid prices across the line, heck, top 100 at the start of the season come round 1.
Agreed. Very well. Well done, James. You're well and truly on the way. Lockie Grigg.
Maybe I'll start this one.
You can start us off.
Yeah. So Sicily, Dawson, Dacos. So 3 premiums, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep going down. 8, 9. Oh, and English is great. 10, 11. So 11 premiums isn't great. Let's start in that 4. Actually, let's start in the back line now. I've seen the forward line. It's not bad. I don't mind the team. I think as well, you're trying to, I don't know, backline premiums this year kind of just got me in feeling a certain kind of way. I think there definitely is the potential to bring in these people at a cheaper price, as we've seen historically. If you look at their scoring, round 7 to 9, 6 to 9, that kind of thing, or even just after the buys, these guys drop a couple of stinkers, which they will do. There will be times that Sicily, maybe Hawthorn has a good game and the ball's not there, or Sicily has to mark somebody and doesn't get as many kick-ins or whatever as what's happened. It happened last year. It will happen this year again. Maybe he has a blinder, gets, an injury or something, and then, God forbid, ends up at a much cheaper price. So just something to really watch out for with these players. Grabbing them over value, maybe not the best option there. The midfield's very interesting, kind of grabbing at Callahan instead of another premium. I can kind of see what you're doing there, some extra value. Having Hopper's fantastic. It's the Mackenzie pick for me. So you have to really bank on the fact that you hope that he's going to be what he is. Last year, a lot of people got burnt by Josh Ward, and I think Phillips is just the much better pick on field. You know, if you drop McKenzie down to a 123K guy who's going to be playing a lot, who offers you a lot more value at a much cheaper price, I think that could really free up some cash across the line to upgrade that forward line. If you scroll across to the forward line, Joe, English and Marshall's okay. No worries. I don't have a trouble with that. The great thing about English is he gives you the potential to actually downgrade to other positions. You know, grab someone who's a bit cheaper and you save some money, that kind of thing. But that forward line, it's really going to hurt. Most people are running one or two guys. And, you know, if a Bruce has a bad game, if Philippou has a bad game, because they're not playing majority mid, they might get lost in a few positions. They might, you know, get relegated or get stuck to different parts of the ground. And then you're really going to struggle with the scoring. Most people are running 4 premiums in the midfield plus a Flanders and a McLean. You're running 2. So that's kind of the big glaring position there. I'd be looking to upgrade some cash or downgrade some cash in other spots and then go and put the money in there. That'd be my assumption. The bench is fine. You've got enough cash to move players around there. So great job.
Yeah, I think the forward line is probably the biggest issue. I think the difference that you have by not having a like Canelio Rosie, for example, I think the difference that, you know, in scoring that you're going to get between, like, you know, from comparing Bruce to Canelio and Philippou to Rosie, I think you're going to have a bigger difference in score there compared to, for example, if you have a Green and a Titch between these guys. Personally speaking, I think by paying up so much, even in the back line, I don't think the difference between Dawson and Dacos is going to be too great. I don't think the difference between Sicily and Young is going to be too great either. So it's really just a question of, are you overpaying? I think yes. And how much are you getting in return, though, for overpaying? Like, I think at some point you do have to consider good value options. And I don't think Cam McKenzie is going to be tremendous value for you at that price. Definitely more likely, definitely better to have a Phillips on there and have him be a 123K rookie. Could even be a Drury who you don't have. You know, you could free up almost like 80K with a downgrade from McKenzie to Drury and have Phillips on field. And then you can make a lot of upgrades there and move on. I definitely think the forward line is a bit light on with both Philippou and Bruce. You don't know if Bruce is best 22 and Philippou is playing more forward than mid. So I definitely think these. And if you're going to start if you're going to have an injury-prone ruckman, you have to start them. You don't try and bring them in later. So I can understand why you're starting English here, but I would definitely still keep an eye on him. He just seems to have a soft tissue concern every week at this point. So, yes, thank you very much, Lockie Grigg.
One thing I would say about starting the Hawks midfielders especially is their midfield has got worse with losing Tom Mitchell and some other players in there. And now we're picking up and we're paying overs for these players. So don't expect much out of Hawthorn this year. A lot of people have them pegged for bottom 4, which is fantastic for them in the draft. You know, good on them. But last year, the likes of Josh Ward and McDonald really struggled. And that was having O'Meara and Tom Mitchell and other players in the midfield. Now it's even worse, and you're overpaying for these players. So just something to really consider and watch out for. You're taking a huge risk over even just another player at a similar price at another team.
And massive sub risk. They've got a lot of young players that they have to develop 100%. And pump games into. It is very, you know, I can totally see just about almost every game that they're going to activate the sub just to give another youngster some game time, just to pump to accelerate their development. So as great as it is.
Yeah, if he has a slow half, he might just get subbed out, and then you've got a really crappy score on field, which you don't want, obviously.
For 180K. Yeah, no good. All right, thank you. We go to Michael Snipness. Interesting way of showing us your team. I'm taking a photo of the screen. You need to watch. You need to watch out how to screenshot your team video. We'll definitely save you some issues there. It's a good one. One of the few teams that has Sinclair in the team. He's gone big there. So he's got Sinclair, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 primo team. Am I seeing this correctly?
Yeah. So 3 in the back line, 4, 5 in the midfield, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's a really interesting team. I've been playing around with this a little bit a few weeks ago, kind of if I can figure out a really good balance. It's really dependent on a lot of your midfield rookies going big and a lot of these really cheap midfield players. If this was last year when we had Cornelio, we had Brody, a couple of others who were at 200K, who ended up, getting to 400, 500K, I'd feel a lot more confident running a team like this. It is different. Long could end up being a keeper or making you 100K pretty easy. Yo's kind of expected to be there. McKenna, similar as well. Wilmot and Jubilees is fine. But that midfield is kind of the real struggle. Because you've only got 10 keepers. So in Supercoach, right, you've kind of got different positions throughout the year where your cash gen matures and you can upgrade players into. I'd be really worried about a team like this with not having enough guys who are going to be keepers that you're going to keep all year and then have enough cash gen to actually upgrade to players into. So what I mean by that is I always trying to have a bench plus the players on field equal enough premiums to fill the position. That's kind of the end goal with making your team. Ben Long plus a rookie, okay, makes a premium. Yo plus one of the rookies makes a premium. One of the guys you don't have. And then you've got McKenna wasted there. Okay, no worries. Missing one, it's not a big deal. You can fill it up with different spaces on field. The midfield is really the part that kind of hurts you this year. Holmes plus a rookie. You really want to max Holmes to try and pop out an 80 or a 90 average to even be worth it, which he could do. Don't get me wrong, if he's dominating, he could do. Him plus a rookie equals a premium. Okay. Hopper, maybe he can be there by himself, plus a rookie equals a premium. Callahan, maybe a rookie plus a premium. But then you've got 3 guys left on field who you almost got to have another upgrade cycle of players, another 4 or 5 weeks on top of it to actually bring players in, to be able to go full upgrade, or cash gen is really going to hurt. The thing with cash gen and players starting the year is that historically, if a rookie's named round 1, they'll play a lot more during the year. So if you're not keeping them for the whole year, if you're looking to upgrade them like everyone else is, you might get some really sketch players later on who, unless they're dominating and then they come in, they've come back from injury, that kind of thing, they may not make you as much money as what you're looking for. You don't want to be slowed down in the upgrade cycle. The forward line is great as well. You've got Zeeble and Fife there. Maybe they become keepers. I don't know if they're going to be top 10 or in the forward line, top 8 players. I'm pretty sure there's a well-known like top 4 to 6 already, plus the DPP players. So I don't think Zeeble and Fife are going to be knocking Cornelio, Taranto, Dunkley, Rosie out of a spot. So you're kind of losing out a little bit there. And then, Green and Van Ruin to actually bolster up those players. So in some areas, your team's great. I love spreading out the cash, but you'll really have to look at your upgrade cycle. Who's going to be coming in? Who's going to be coming out? You don't want to be stuck with the guy who's got 3 upgrades left when everyone else is basically in the buys or before the buys finish their team. Really have to try and upgrade as quick as you can this year, and that a lot has to do with structure. Off to you, Joe.
A lot has to do with structure, and I think paying up for a guy like Sinclair, you clearly see something in him, and whether or not he's able, he's priced at 113, right? 113.8, so roughly 114 he's priced at. So he has to keep going. He has to score above that to maintain his price point. And with reports that there's more people going to be supporting him at halfback, it's unlikely that he's able to maintain that scoring. I definitely think that, as Big J said, I don't think Fife and Zeeble are really going to be close to knocking down the door and finding themselves top of their line. I think it's very easy for a Sinclair who's going to have roughly similar output to a Young. I think if Young is, the reports are correct and Young is taking kick-ins, I definitely think that Young's output could be very similar to Sinclair's for over $100,000 less. And I think, Fife and Zeeble, their roles definitely have to keep an eye on. But I would certainly bank on Rosie, for example, being that fourth primo in the forward line, even if you're not 100% sold on his scoring output, which I think is going to be really good, personally speaking. But at least he serves as a form of blocker, as our good friend Abs would say, in terms of a lot of people are going to have him. Currently he's in over 40% of teams. And if he was to go really big and you're stuck there fielding a Fife and a Zeeble who, according to watching the intra club, didn't have a lot of kick-ins at all and wasn't involved very much. So, Fife and Zeeble together might not score as much as Rosie does on his own. So it is a big issue. And I think it's something that can very easily be resolved. You can go Sinclair down to a Young, for example, or someone like that, or a Ridley if you think he's going to be good. And you can easily go Fife and Zeeble up to a Rosie and then, have some money elsewhere to spread the love. I think you have gone very thin in the middle. I think Max Holmes is a fair shout trading in the midfield group, but I definitely would consider a guy like Green or Tom Mitchell to be a lot surer pick in the midfield, I think. So you're going to have to trade up a lot. By not starting a lot of primos at the start of the year, you're going to have to trade more primos in during the course of the season, as opposed, so when you think of it that way, you might reconsider the number of primos that you got there. But
like Holmes is great, don't get me wrong, but people will be running Holmes at at M5, M6, around that kind of position, and you're running him at M2. So just kind of an indication there. If the rest of your team was finished and the midfield was left, I'd say fantastic, you're going to win Supercoach. But at the moment, you kind of got to have a rethink maybe.
Yeah, and he's priced at 65, so for him to make 150k, he has to go 95. I think a guy like Sheed might be more safe in trying to go there, someone with a bit more history to him. But thank you very much for your team, Michael Snipness. We now come to Moksh, our final team of this video. Moksh 1233. I love the name. Very cool. Post-nut Clary. Does he have Clary in the team? No, he doesn't have Clary in the team. I love it. All right. I guess I'll start us off here. We got Dawson, Dacos, Richards, first Richards team. So 3. I'm going to say 3. He's picking Richards not to be a step up. I think he's picking Richards to be a primo this year. So I'll consider him a primo for this video. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 primo team. One of the rare ones. You like to see it. He's got Yo at D4. Very nice. McKenna. Great one. Weddle, Wilmot, and Gilby. Interesting. The 102k rookie there. 7,800. Can't afford anybody else there. Bond, Steel, Green, Titch. I think these guys are very, very reasonable, solid options. Hoppite, he's gone Warple. He's a Warple believer. Okay, Ashcroft Phillips. Yep, he's nailed those rookies. I think these guys are all good rookies there as well. He's gone English Marshall. We've already given our spiel on them. He's gone the Magic. He's gone the Fantastic Four with McLean and Sin. So definitely Sin, weak spot there in your team. And that's probably, having Sin there and a Weddle at D6. I think these are your 2 glaring weak spots, I suppose, for your team. It would definitely be better if you had a McKenna at D6 and if you had McLean at F6. If you were able to somehow manage to work that out, then I think you're well and truly on the way to being a top 100 to start off the season. It might involve something to do with Warple, maybe. It's a lot of watching with that Hawthorn side. There's so many question marks over how they're going to play and how the team is going to look and who's going to be subbed out and whether or not Warple's going to be playing a lot of forward time or wing. Is he going to take the next step and really be good in that midfield? Like, it's a contract year. There's a lot of question marks there. Other than that, in terms of the primos that you've got, there's a bit of speculation there with Richards. I am a fan of Richards. I think he's very capable. But for me, the one reason why I don't have him in my team is the lack of clear kick-ins that he takes. I think having kick-ins is really important. Having said that, Dacos won't be taking any, but he's playing pure full-time midfield. And by reports, the guy gets liver poisoning like nobody's business. He's smashing it. So I think overall, it's if you need to do something about Sin at F6, something about that, is no bueno. If you could somehow, I don't know if it means downgrading a Warple to someone else or a Dawson, but you've picked Dawson because you really like Dawson, or maybe in English, I don't know where you're going to downgrade. But I don't like Sin in F6. If you could somehow have McLean at F6, have maybe a mid-pricer here to then allow, maybe if not Warple, you could go Warple down to Jimby, for example, who's probably one of the bigger rookies that you might be missing out on, and then get rid of Sin on F6. I think that Sin at F6 spot is probably the biggest issue. Having a rookie at D6 might not be the biggest problem in the world, especially with a lot of people might be fielding like a Constable, for example, at D6, who's a 123k rookie going to be playing half back for Gold Coast. Definitely there's a lot more value in the back line. So if you're going to go light somewhere, definitely it's the back line. But the forward line, if everyone's playing four primos, a mid-pricer, and McLean, I think the difference is going to be a lot and will leave you a bit behind if you're fielding a Sin who's going to be playing wing, not the most Supercoach friendly role. And if it's not him, Van Ruin, key forward, we like non-forward forwards. So yeah, anyone that's 123k won't fit the bill at F6, I don't think, this year.
Yeah. I guess it's on to me, right? I'll be looking at this team with what you'd consider to be 13 primos compared to the one we just showed with 10. And there's a glaring difference in maybe not quality of team, but both teams start with the same amount of money. It's not like the previous person's had, $2 million left in the bank and that's why he's behind. Starting the amount of keepers is really important that you can, even if it's not guys who are the most expensive, being able to bring players in, I think is really important. I agree with Joe. The biggest issue I do see with the team at the moment is that Sin position at F6. But, if someone who's a gun comes out and really dominates, maybe like an Aaron Davey or Alwyn Davey, someone like that who's playing a bit more mid at around that price, it's not a huge deal. If you were looking to downgrade a little bit and shuffle around some cash, you could get close to it with going like a Warple down to a Flanders and then go a Sin up to someone like a Ben King, who, from all reports, is fit and firing, who will be kind of their number one key forward at that club, or be able to be supported enough to actually make you some real quick money. These kind of key forwards who are established versus your Comb and your Van Ruin who haven't played a game before, there's a big difference in fitness, but also capacity to score. Gold Coast's run, I think, is pretty good early. So being able to grab these guys quick, being able to say, hey, one big score of even just like an 80, for example, will shoot these guys up to 300k. So kind of looking out for that would be fantastic for you, I think, at this stage. I love the Green and Mitchell spots. Even if they're not going to be keepers, they're going to be at the position where you can basically go one for one. Upgrade one of them to like an Oliver, for example, if he has a couple of bad games, or a Tuke Miller or somebody, and you haven't really lost out on upgrades there. So that'd be kind of my feeling. As Joe said, Richards is a little bit sketch at the moment, just kind of feeling out what's happening with that back line. But as we've said, a Warple downgrade could facilitate a Sin, could facilitate a Richards up to a Hayden Young. And if you had that in your team, like, hey, presto, you're looking fantastic at 13 keepers, even if you want to keep English the whole year. As Joe said with the last person, you have to start these players who we think are going to be injury prone, who are really risky, because there's no negative really for you trading them out. You don't want to be the guy who's trying to chase points, bring them in, and then, trade them out again later on. It happened a lot with people who tried to chase Tim English. The ones that started him were happy. Me too. The ones that started him were happy. The ones that brought him in, he got injured again, and now you've spent all your cash gen bringing in a player who's now injured, who's dropped in money, and you're stuck. So just kind of have to weigh up the options there. Otherwise, fantastic team, really happy. Your bench covers great. I think you've got enough money. Joe's kind of spoke about Jubilee, but it's more just a wait and see. If Montgomery comes out and dominates, you can just put him in instead. So, yeah, pretty happy.
Exactly. So, well done, guys. Thank you so much for... All right, I'm going to switch back to that. Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
All right, guys, that's our first iteration, our first segment. It's first time teaming, I suppose, working out what the structure is going to be like. So the video might be a bit longer than what the next ones are going to be as we get our feet, I suppose, on the ground and under us with how we're going to structure up these reviews. But thank you guys so much again for sending us these teams. It was a pleasure. And I hope you guys who had your teams reviewed can take this on board. It's no criticism. It's all fair. We're trying to help you make the best possible team you can. So please, no hard feelings. And for all the people that haven't had their teams reviewed in this one, I hope you learned something.
Yeah, and we'll be doing the whole week. It's Monday today. We'll have the video out tonight. The rest of the week is basically going to be team reviews alongside our normal content as well. So if you're not featured today, have a look for the rest of the teams for the rest of the weeks. Hope you guys can learn something as much as what we have, kind of analyzing the teams and gathering some information from you guys. Hopefully you guys have learnt, from the teams and from our analysis there. Remember, guys, we have our Supercoach group where you guys can join and win some amazing prizes throughout the year. We've got an AFL jersey up for grabs, some tickets to a game, and the AFL voucher as well. Any final words, Joe?
Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We are pumping out the content, whether it be Supercoach related or even just footy in general related. The Pracky games are up on KO. We're going to be watching those. Won't be live in most cases, but we will be sitting there watching, and you will be getting our views on all of those too. So please, guys, stick around to the Centre Bounce.
Remember, guys, we do the hard work so you don't have to. Bye for now.